This week we are using the Bottled Happiness bundle from Stampin' Up and making this super simple, super cute card. It comes together really easily. There is a punch for the bottles. The stamping is super quick and easy, so if you want to see how to make this card, please keep watching. So for this card here, we're going to need a few products, and this can be switched out with whatever you may have. I'm using the Bottled Happiness bundle here. There are several other bundles with punches that you can use. We have heart punches. So, I mean, if you don't have this specific bundle, you can still use the layout and the measurements and all that to create a completely different card. But we're using the Bottled Happiness bundle. This is a photopolymer stamp set with 13 stamps and the bottle punch, which looks like that. Just punches out the bottle. You save 10% when you buy them as a bundle. We're also going to be using 3 inks. I really liked this color combination. So we're going to be using Soft Succulent, Sahara Sand, and Fresh Freesia. We are going to be using an Evening Evergreen card base, but you could very easily use Soft Succulent with this or Fresh Freesia, whatever cardstock you already have. So we're going to start first by stamping. So we're going to stamp our bottles first and then our sentiment. And then also I did stamp the inside of this card. Let me move this out of the way. We're going to grab a scrap piece of basic white. I already have my stamps mounted up here, so we're going to be using 5 stamps. I have 2 on D blocks. These are our bottles. I have our sentiment on an H block. The little bottle here is on a C block, and our flowers are on an E block. So let's start with Sahara Sand, Soft Succulent. I'm just going to make it go that way. We're going to do the outline first. So your outline stamp is this one here. And I have a little tip for this one because it is just an outline. It's kind of flimsy. So if you just put it on the block, it might warp or be different. So what I recommend is setting it on your surface, maybe your grid paper, and picking it up with your block. That way it is the same shape as the bottle here. So that's just my little tidbit. So I'm going to ink up my outline stamp in Soft Succulent, put it down there, and then we're going to ink up the bottle in Soft Succulent, but I'm going to stamp off once. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to ink it up, I'm going to stamp onto my grid paper, and then stamp onto my basic white. Now what that does is it just is going to create a lighter effect. So it's still the same color, it's just a shade lighter. So now we're not done with Soft Succulent yet. Let me grab my little basic white piece for our sentiment. All the measurements are in the blog post. I don't actually have them written down right in front of me, but they are all in the blog post. So if you need measurements for any of the pieces, click the link in the description to head over to my blog. So our sentiment is stamped, and then we're done with the Soft Succulent now, so I'm going to put that aside, and then we're going to grab our Stampin' Scrub or your Simply Chamois or whatever it is you use to clean your stamps. The Stampin' Scrub has a wet side and a dry side. I'm going to spray the wet side with a little Stampin' Mist, and I'm just going to clean off my stamps quick. I like to do this as soon as I'm done with the stamp, but also we're switching colors for the bottle, so you don't want to muddy up your ink. So if I just put Soft Succulent onto Fresh Freesia next, it would look weird and muddy, so we don't want to do that. We're actually done with that stamp, so I'm going to move it. And we're going to do the same thing that we did with Soft Succulent with Fresh Freesia. Just inking up that outline. And you can do the bottle first and then go over with the outline, however you're comfortable. I like doing the outline first. It gives me a little guide as to where the bottle is going to go. I'm going to stamp off again and just kind of line that up. And this technique here too is also very forgiving because, oh, I need to do the inside of our card, because if you mess it up a little bit, it's lighter, you can't really tell. I'm going to set that aside. This is the inside of our card. I just took the flowers here and they are on an E block. I'm going to ink those up in Fresh Freesia. I'm just going to kind of turn it to see where I want my flowers to be. I think I want them this way. That looks good to me. We'll do that. And now this is a 2-step stamp, so there is one that goes on the inside and it matches. You can do that if you prefer. I just wanted to keep it kind of simple, so I'm going to clean off of these stamps. And then we can get our last bottle stamped with our Sahara sand. So before we stamp our Sahara sand bottle, I just want to punch out these ones because that'll give us a placement onto where to put that bottle. I don't want them to overlap. I want them to just kind of complement each other. So all I'm doing is lining up the bottle in the punch and punching it out. And that's it. Now I have 2 that I can kind of prop up, and what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm just going to lay them out. I want them kind of like that, so I know my other bottle needs to go about there. And we're going to do the same thing that we did with these other ones, where I'm going to ink it up in Sahara sand. And I'm going to stamp off, and then stamp right onto our piece of basic white. It looks like I had a hair. I did. I had a little baby hair in there. That's okay. It gives it some texture. So that is it for stamping. Move this out of the way. Now we can piece our card together. So I have some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm just going to flip these over. One on each of them. And on the first card, I did the soft succulent bottle first. It's how, whatever you want it to look like. And that one there. And then grab some seal for the back of our sentiment. And then I have a little piece of soft succulent that's going to go on. And before we completely put our card together, I did do a little bit of dry embossing. So I have my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and then I have the stripes and splatters 3D embossing. There's 2 of them in here. I have the splatters and then a piece of Sahara sand cardstock. So I'm just going to run that through the mini. If you don't have an embossing machine, you definitely could use like a ribbon. I just know some people don't have the ribbon, but they have the little emboss machine. So whichever you have. If you have ribbon, go ahead and use ribbon. If you have the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, go ahead and do what I'm doing. If you have both, do whatever you prefer. So if you like ribbons better on cards, go ahead and do that. I am just going to emboss that piece because I really like how it looked. And then, like I said, I have an evening evergreen card base. You can use soft succulent. You could use Sahara sand if you like. And I'm just going to run some seal along the back of that. And this is 5.5 inches long. But the thing is when you emboss, it kind of shrinks it just a touch. So I'm not really, oh, I should have put it a little bit further. Hold on. I'm not really putting it all the way to the edge, but I am, but I'm not. There. Yep, that's okay. Because if you look at the sample card, you can see that it doesn't quite go all the way to the edge, even though that one's lined up. So same on this one. It's okay. I'm all right with it. So now I'm going to take my piece of fresh freesia and put our bottles on that. And this is only 1/8 of an inch larger than the basic white. So you kind of have to be careful with this one. You don't have a whole lot of wiggle room. And then we're just going to put dimensionals on the whole thing, because I really like that popped up look. And then for our sentiment, what we want to do is, because part of that is going to hang off, you only want to put dimensionals on the left side of it. So I'm just going to put 2. Take the backings off of those. And just kind of line it up about there, and see that hangs off a little bit. Then we're going to take the backings off of these. Maybe. Come on, fingernails. and then pop that onto our card base. Then we got to put our inside in, so I'm just going to use seal for that. It looks like I got a little smudge there, but you know what? It is a handmade card. So to finish the card, I have some of the 2021 to 2023 in color opal rounds. There is fresh freesia in here and polished pink and soft succulent. I actually used polished pink on this one. I think we're going to go with the fresh freesia this time. So I have my take your pick tool with the paper piercer end. I'm going to grab the fresh freesia ones and I did 5 of them, just kind of random, wherever you think you might want a little bling. One up there, and we'll do another fresh freesia. And one down there. And that is today's card. So little subtle differences, just the jewels. Everything else looks pretty much the same. So I hope you enjoyed today's card. For more card making ideas, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the little notification bell to get updated every time I post a new video. So I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.